How you doing, everybody? This is a Dreams tutorial on how to make a horizontal scrolling shooter, or the basics of how to set one up. Okay, so we're going to start. I have a few pre-made assets just to get me started. So if we go in and start up. Now, I'm going to go to edit. Okay, to start off with, these are just some things I've made, just basically to get me started. Okay, I have a ship which has no logic on it, but I have placed a microchip on it so I can put logic onto the ship. I have an asset made that's going to act as the scrolling background or the scrolling floor, and I have an asset made that's going to act as the background when it's scrolling. Okay, so to start off with, I'm going to make very quick ship logic. I'm going to go into the microchip on the ship and simply place a controller sensor. We go to logic all the way across, place down a controller sensor if I can find one. Okay. Hey doing, Freezer? Nice to hear from you. Glad you can hear me okay. So this is going to be a very kind of short tutorial. So it's just going to show you the basics of how to do this. As I said, I have a ship made. It's just a couple of assets I've just knocked together. And I have a microchip placed on it. So onto that, I'm putting a controller sensor, tweak it, make sure it's set to possessable, and then I'm going to go to just make sure I can leave all them on. Okay, right. So to start with now, I'm going to place a camera as well on here. So we're going to go to across to here, camera and lighting. Okay. And I'm basically going to, if I press L1 and X, I can go in to set the camera position. Ooh, that looks a bit weird. Okay. So I'm going to put it so it's sideways. I'm going to try and get a nice view of the ship. So say, for example, put it like this. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to make the background scroll, but the ship itself won't actually move. So it's kind of a trick. So rather than you thinking the ship is like flying along, all that's moving is the background. Okay. So far I like that view here. Kind of like this. And then so you press L1 and circle, will come out of it, and it's automatically stored that particular camera view. So what I will want to do is go into the camera again, L1 and X, or L1 and square to tweak it. I'm going to set it to cut, which means that it's not going to do any fades like into it. And I'm going to turn off the transition time. I know. Well, that's the whole idea behind it. You're going to basically emit the background to move, and I'm going to show you now how that's done. So first off, I'm going to set the ship controls. So to start off with, it's simply into logic. You go into a advanced mover, place it here, like so. Now the way you have an X, Y, and Z coordinate for the ship, you can see here the way it's moving. So what I will do is I want the ship to stop fairly fast, so I'm going to put these up high and put them up to 100. I can lower them down later. Okay, put the strength up to 100. Now I'm going to make the speed quite slow. Now if you notice the X, Y, and Z, so Z is going to be this direction. So what I'm going to need to do is, now I would have to turn these, but I'm not going to do that just yet. So what I would need to do is turn off the Y speed or the Z speed. What that means is it's not going to be able to move this way, but it will move up and down, which is the only thing I want to do at the moment. So you notice X speed is in and out. I'm going to turn off X. So all I'm going to be able to do is move my ship up and down. And I'm literally just going to set a speed. So we'll put it about 3, for example. Okay. So now all I want to do is go over here. I'm going to go into this logic and processing, and I'm going to pick a splitter, this one here, right, and a combiner. Now what they're basically going to do is they're going to split the signal. So when I go into the controller sensor, I pick my stick, which is the left stick for flying the ship. I usually go to local space. Local space means that it's going to follow, the camera is going to follow the ship basically. So everything is going to be geared towards the ship. So I connect my left stick up to the splitter, and you notice it goes to an X and Y coordinate. What that is that's literally left and right and up and down. So it's basically split this left stick into an up and down, left and right. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to take the up and down. It's what the one I want. Up and down, and I'm simply going to connect the up and down into the X coordinate. So what will happen is, if it works, okay. Right, hold on a second. What's going to happen is, shrink these down. When I press up and down on the left stick, it's going to go into this, which will split it into left and right and up and down. But as I'm only using up and down, it's going to go to move the X coordinate. Now if I press it down, it will bring this number down. Press it up, it will push the number up. It's kind of variable, so I can show you how it works in a minute. Okay, now you notice the Z coordinate is facing up. Oh, actually, my mistake. I have actually worded it wrong. I apologize. I knew I'd make it wrong. So the Y coordinate is that way, Z coordinate is up. I would want the 0. I want to change the Z coordinate because that's the one that's going to move the ship up and down. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. Sorry about this. Yep. So I want to connect up the up and down to this one. Okay. So now what's going to happen is, if I was to test it, first off, turn off the camera by simply clicking on this one. Powers off the camera, so it's not going to show the camera up. Do a quick test. That's the ship. Okay, that's actually wrong. I do apologize. It's literally just a matter of fixing the coordinates. So it's weird the way I have it done. So what I want to do is, it's going in relation to the scene rather than in relation to the object. But if I click this one here, local space, you notice the coordinates change here. Close this for a second. Okay, the coordinates change. So if I put the grid on like this, it means that everything is working at 90 degrees, so it locks in a specific angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the X facing forward. Oops, mistake. Yeah, so X is going to face forward, right? X, Y. Y should be facing up to make it fly right. And Z's facing that way. Right, so now we go back into the advanced mover. And as X is facing this way, we don't want to move forward. So that's on 0. Y is going to be going up and down now. And Z is going to be coming in and out. So I'm going to disconnect this one. Put that at 0. We only want to move up and down. So we're going to give that a speed. 3. Connect the, where are we now? The up and down. Connected to this. Okay. And now when we do this, see, and now the ship will move up and down. When we actually, what I'm doing is I'm pressing the stick up and down. Okay. Now, if you notice, we have a problem straight away. Okay, when I press up on the controller, it moves down. Press down, it moves up. So if we want to invert the axis, all we simply have to do is close that down. Go back to look at the chip. Go back to look at the chip, and we simply wire in these the reverse inputs. So instead of it going the way it is at the moment, in there. Move these, make it a bit easier to see. See, it's going directly into that. So what you want to do is take that wire off, connect that into the plus. So basically what we've done is we've flipped. Am I right? What am I doing? Nope, I apologize. I'm not right. We want to add another splitter. Okay, here. What this is going to do is, this is up and down, that's the one we're using. But this is going to split the up and down between up or down, if you like. Right. So when I wire that in there, now it goes to plus, which is positive, meaning it should be going up, and negative will be going down. So if I connect it in, okay. So now what I would do is I'd connect this up, plus to plus, minus to minus. So that would be like the ship flying up or the ship flying down. But because it's reversed, we can automatically reverse the Y coordinate by making that one go into the minus, and this one go into the plus. Okay, the output from this obviously goes into the Y coordinate, which is or is it the Y coordinate? Yeah, the Y coordinate. which is the one we want, like so. And close that down. And now when we test it, and I press up on the stick, it goes up, down on the stick, it goes down. Now I wouldn't worry about the camera because I have the camera turned off. What the camera will do is, I'll show you now. When I switch it on, like so, there's the X. The camera is going to be focused on that angle. So now you can see the ship press up, press down, which works really nicely. Okay, for what we want. So if we are having a shooter, the ship could fly around and go whatever way you wanted. Okay, but now that's the basics of the ship made. Now we have to do the background. So to do it, what I've done is I'm going to pick each element and emit it. So I would use a big wall in the distance. Now the trick is the ship is never going to move forward. It's always just going to be in the one position. So it'll never go off this. It'll never increase its x-axis, if you like. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I can cleverly emit things. Like so. I'm going to go into logic. I'm going to get an emitter. Like this. I'm going to place the emitter on the wall here. Side. Now to start off with, you're probably better off to turn off the grid. But the grid is very important to do this. Alright, turn off the grid. Now, all I'll do is I'm going to have one emitter here. What that's going to do is that's going to emit the floor. I'm going to have another emitter. I'm actually going to leave that for a second. So I'm going to have basically two different emitters. One will emit the floor and one will emit the wall. So very cleverly, what I can do is move this one over here out of the way, just so anywhere so you can't really see it. Same as this one. Now, from the emitter, I'm going to go in and tweak it like so. Actually, I'm going to put the grid on first. The grid is very important because otherwise you want it to basically emit straight rather than emitting at an angle. So if I go to emit like this, now I want it to continuously emit the background, if you like. So what I'm going to do is have it on max emitted at once. You can leave that up fairly high. Object lifetime. We're going to just make it long enough that it will emit, and when it reaches off the screen where you can't see, it will like destroy it, if you like. Okay. We're going to put the time between emits on. Probably put about 1. Okay. Now a very important thing to do with backgrounds or anything you want to emit like this is make sure when you tweak them that they are non-collidable. That's extremely important. Because what that is, if they were uncollidable, once they emit, they're going to keep banging into one another. Same with this one. Make this one. Okay, I've got a slight problem here because it's made of multiple parts. Oh dear. So what I have to do is scope into it, select each part. This is just something I didn't think of. Okay, and tweak them. And because I'm tweaking them, because I'm tweaking one and I've selected them all, it's going to edit each of them. I'm going to go to physical, non-collidable. Okay. Well, as they're grouped, they're all going to stay together as one object. Now, all I simply do is I'm going to turn off that camera on this for a second. The reason I'm turning off the camera is because I want to see the effect working first. So I'll go into it, turn off the power. That means the camera won't be on. So now I'm going to simply emit. Let me see. You click on the top on the object to emit. So what I'm going to do is select the object I want, which is going to be the floor up here. Okay, and it flashes red showing you that's the object that's being emitted. Okay, and the angle is going to be emitted. So now I'm going to take it, bring it down, and then you notice everything is on the grid. So everything will line up fairly nicely. Okay, so we just kind of get it so it's quite big on the screen. Okay, so put it back a bit, like so. Basically what we're doing is, this is just the point that the actual object will emit. So once the emitter fires, it will first off emit it from this point, which is where this white ball is. That's showing you the emit point. Okay, and then the grid is on, so all I have to do is, once I've done this done, oops, sorry, I want to take the make sure, okay, Is that down low enough where it's underneath the ship? Okay, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Emit it from there. Okay. Now all I want to do is go to once I've basically picked the emit point, if you like, I come off it, and then I can go in and tweak. Hold on. Oh, I know I'm doing something wrong. See, you notice it's emitting there straight away. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to get this. Why is it not letting me turn this? Okay, scope down. It should be letting me turn that. So I'll turn off the grid for a sec to see why it's not. Okay, turn on visibility. See why it's not turning that now. Live. Being live and you don't realize these things sometimes go a bit haywire. For some reason it's not letting me turn that. Why, I don't know. Is it something I've turned on? No. Wonder why it's not letting me turn that. It should be letting me turn it. Let me see. Right into it. Okay, I'm going to try it without the grid. Dangerous, but for some reason the grid should be working. It's not. Okay. It's very strange. Okay, I don't know why it's not letting me do that. Should be letting me do it. Right, put the grid on. Okay. Right. This should be actually working, but for some reason it's not. Okay, we'll try emitting a different object to see what's happening. Okay, we're trying to emit the wall instead. Okay, I want to make this big. So that is weird. Now it should be able to turn this, but I don't know why it's not letting me. Very strange. Okay, I'm gonna make the grid finer. See, does that do anything? Take the grid off again. Why is that not working? So that's the way it kind of should be working there, but it's not for some reason. Now it's working. Okay. Don't ask, that's very, very strange. Okay, so we want to re-emit the ground again. So we go back and select this one. Okay. So we're going to move it into place. I have actually got no idea why that stopped working there. So very strange. So we're going to pick where we wanted to emit from. Very quickly. Bring it down like so. And again, the grid is great because it lines everything up. Okay. Okay. I'll turn off the grid. Okay, what is going on with that? Okay. I decided to try something else, seeing as that's not working. Oh, maybe I have to actually be in play mode. I apologize if I did. Yeah, now it's working like that. Okay. Ah, my mistake. I apologize. Something I forgot to tell you. Something important is to make the object. Okay. Go on to. Okay. Turn off the preview invisibility. So what you can do then is you can see the object where the original place where it was emitted. I have to go into it again, like so. Select the whole object, like this. Tweak it. Okay. Very important thing you have to do is make sure it's non-movable. Turn off the gravity. Movable. Okay. More gravity. Right, and now when you emit it now, because I turned off ignore gravity, it's going to go straight. Okay, so all I want to do now is to make it look better. I can scope out of that and change its speed. Make it move slower. And now a very important thing is you'll notice that it's only going a certain distance. So what I want to do is I want to increase the lifetime. So it's going to emit further, like so. Like that. But I also want to change the time between emits. I need it to be exactly the length of that block. The best way to do that is just to adjust it like so. And you can zoom in a bit. You can see the way now it's still colliding here. So keep increasing this until you get a gap. Now you see there's a gap. So what I want to do is bring it down a bit. And there you are. I'm going to make it a bit faster. Increase the speed. I also want to increase, very carefully, just increase the emitted object lifetime. It's alright. Change this, lower this down. And so if I make it faster again. Okay. Lower down. Just slightly. Okay. And I want to make the same for the wall. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy or place another emitter. And copy the same emitter. Place it up here. But now what I'm going to do is pause it for a sec. I'm going to use the wall here. So I'm going to make this really big, like this, so it'll look very impressive. Okay. Go in to tweak this one. Have it select the wall piece, like so. The settings are pretty much the same. So I can basically move it down into place, like so. Probably have it too big, so I can just shrink it. Now you remember I had the wall, everything on non-collidable. So what's going to happen is they can literally go through each other. Okay. So now what I do is I can test it out. And you notice it's doing the same thing. So go into the original. Basically going to pause it. Tweak this. Make sure it's on. Turn the gravity off. Okay. So now when you emit it, it's just going to go straight. And now to make it, give it a nice effect, I can make the background move a little bit at a different speed if I wanted. So I can make it a bit, maybe a bit slower even. Right, and then just, okay. You want to again, you want to make it look like see the way it's emitting into itself. So you just need to change the emit time, or the time between emits. I'd actually want to increase the time between emits because it's a bigger piece. you go. Now, as long as the camera doesn't see what the part that's emitting, so what I can do is bring my ship back, like this, bring my camera back, like that, and I will go in to look at the camera view by turning it on, like so, and then when I test it, the ship is obviously too close. Okay, all we have to do is just edit the view and bring the ship out. Sorry. Simply go down here, make the ship smaller, maybe a bit big. Put the ship here. Okay, and now we want to go in and look at the camera view. You do that by going on camera, L1 and X to change the view. Set it so it's a nice kind of view, roughly like this. X, and then we're going to put a bit of lighting on it, so we put a nice bit of light on the ship. So to do that, we're going to go to settings again. Yeah, exactly, that's logic for me. These things happen. We're going to go to lighting. Now we're going to do two things. We're going to put a light on the ship. So once you place a light on the ship, the light will move with the ship. Tweak it, put it on diffuse lighting. Now you notice this ball, that's going to be the radius of the light. So you can see the way there's light around the ship now. Okay, like so. And now also we're going to place a sun and sky gadget onto the actual ship. But the reason I'm putting this on the ship is because it will kind of move with the ship, if you like. So it'll affect the whole area, but it will mostly affect it around the player, if you like. Sun and sky. We're going to put it on, make it fairly dark, like this. Oops, sorry. We're going to go down to the brightness, sky brightness, put it down at 0. Now you notice you're just getting a kind of a radius around the ship. Okay, now we can turn off the grid, because we don't need that anymore. The grid was really useful for making things go straight and placing it so it emits straight. Turn off the grid, like so. Alright, now we're going to just have to literally just tweak the lighting to make it look nice. You can move where you want the light to be, if you wish. Make it bigger or brighter. So make it fairly bright. Okay, and now if we test it, what we get is this. And there's your scrolling kind of shooter effect. See, really what it's doing is it's emitting something off the screen here. So it's being emitted and it's destroying it when it goes off here. So now all I have to do is if I possess the ship, I can literally use the stick to fly up and down. And you notice the actual screen is going with me. The reason it's doing that is because the camera is on the ship. If I wanted it static, I would have the camera positioned on a separate block, kind of towards the screen, if you like, and then the ship would move up and down, but the camera wouldn't. So that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And I'll add one more little touch if I want to do it, where tweak here again. Go back to the microchip. I'm gonna make this big for a second. And close all these because I don't need these now. Right. So now what we do is we're going to put in and out mover. So another way we have this one here, which is left and right. All I will do is I'm going to copy these like so. Okay. So basically I have one which is going up and down, and then I'm going to have one which is going left and right. So from the left sticks out directional, okay, it's splitting it into the up and down, going down here, and this one will be going to the left and right. Now left and right, usually it's kind of orientated the right way, so I can connect it directly, like so. And then we just look at our ship again. By tweaking, if you tweak the advanced mover, it'll show you kind of the direction that the ship is going to move in. So that's its X coordinate, its Y coordinate. We want to change its Z coordinate, which is basically this way. Okay, so leave that on 0. So we're going to see what we have at 1.5. We're going to make this 1.5, and all we have to do is connect this one up to this, like so. And then what will happen is when we test it, okay, we're flying our ship, right, the left stick is up and down, moves your ship up and down, and left and right moves in and out. And you notice because the ship is actually moving, if you like, the the ground is being emitted in the same position, so it's not going to move. The ground is just emitted. I'll show you what I mean now. Bear with me for a second. I'm going to turn off the camera to show you what I'm talking about, and it'll make a lot of sense. Right. Okay. I'm going to also turn off the area lighting. So where is it? We're going to turn off studio lighting, I mean. Where's studio lighting? Oh, sorry, my mistake. I'm on the wrong thing. So now I'll show you here how it works, okay? How it emits. So when I play it, you can see the way everything is being emitted here, okay? But once the camera is looking at this angle, so it's not going to see things being emitted, just the emitted things, okay? So if I go in and possess the ship, like this, okay, that's actually because of the camera. 1 second. So I have to go back to this. I'm going to make the camera view bigger. This is like a default camera view, so I want to make distance. Okay, maybe make it more. Okay, because the camera is off now. Go on to this. I possess the ship like that. Now you can see things being emitted on the right of the screen, and things are being destroyed on the left. Okay, so then if you move up and down, you can see how that works. Okay, and then left and right will move you in and out. But you notice the ship itself is moving in and out or up and down, but the background is basically just, it's only moving from left to right, or from one side of the screen to the other side. So there, so that's how you would do it. And then if you had that on Collidable on the ship, you could have it or a tag on the ground, like a label on the ground, a block on the ground. So the ship would actually bang off the ground rather than the ground banging off the ship, if you like. If that makes any sense. It's the same as in that way, because if I went all the way this way, or all the way this way, I'd eventually hit the wall. Like you can see he's actually going through the wall there. So all I would have is, I would have it where I can have it set where the actual ship will slow down and stop when it hits a wall. That's done with a thing called a laser scope. So there you are. So that's a very, very quick logic tutorial on how to do the scrolling. And now again, if I go back to this, turn on the lighting and turn the camera on, camera back on, okay, maybe have a bit of a different view. Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it this, tweak it, and now I can actually change the camera view while it's moving, so I can set it so I could make it more dynamic. I turn it that way. Now, of course, I could have this twice as long, cover the screen, but for the sake of this demo, put it like that. And then when I actually test play mode. Now, of course, because down the bottom of the screen here, you've got this big black area, you could do something clever, like you could put health or something there. Or, so when you move, the whole thing is going to move. Okay, and I'm going to show you a little technique to avoid that happening. So what I could do is, I have the camera on the ship itself. Okay, so what if I go to the logic, open up the ship logic, just simply take the camera off the ship and put the camera static there. And because the ship isn't moving forward, the camera is basically not needing to follow. You could put a follower on it, but I'll show you what I'm talking about now. So if I was to play this, okay, you could do it that way as well if you wanted. But the camera view, because we've taken it off the ship, it's obviously set to look that way. So all I have to do is go into edit, start it moving like so, tweak the camera. Now you can see the way it's actually showing you the camera view. So if I go into the camera like this, could do it where camera is back away from it. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry. Okay. I'm going to go back into editing this, like so. I need to turn off the camera that's actually on the controller. So I need to go into the controller sensor, into this one here, go to the camera option. I need to turn off this 0, 0, 0. Now it looks dramatic, but what I've actually done is I've turned the camera off, so the camera that's basically the other camera is going to take over. So now you see it's actually the camera that's on the controller sensor that kind of is default as a puppet. That's been turned off because the settings are all on 0. So now the camera that's actually playing is the cutscene camera. And now because it's not actually on the ship, it's kind of sitting, if you like, to the left in the background, or the foreground, should I say. It's actually just locked on one particular view. So then you could have the ship do things like this. One last thing to show, and then that's it. We're going to give it lasers. Okay, so we can make it laser simply by putting the grid on, like this. Okay, we can do it where we do it paint strokes. All you have to do is make sure you turn on ruler. Okay, pick a nice color for the paint strokes. Any preferences? Let me go for blue. Okay, pick a nice blue color. Hey doing? Hi haters, how's it going? I'm just doing a quick tutorial on side scrolling. Okay, so now what I do is that's going to be my laser. I'm only going to use one laser. Okay, tweak it. I'm going to turn up the brightness. If I turn off the glow, it will just literally have the laser showing up as a line. So I'm going to turn this up fairly bright. Okay, like that. Now I just put an emitter onto the actual ship. So go to the options here, go down to emitters, like this. Place the emitter anywhere here, because it's actually on the microchip on the ship, so it's going to basically affect the logic of the ship. Go into the control center, pick a nice button, say for example the X button to fire. Wire that up to the oh, not going to wire it up quite yet because I want to test it first. Okay, emit. We do once because every time we just want it to be that when we hit the fire button, it fires one laser bolt. Okay, so pick a nice speed, something like 6. Okay, so now if you test it, oh, my mistake. What we have to do is we have to actually put the emitter. We have to actually select the object to emit. I do apologize. So we're going to go to our laser like that. Emit this. Now it's showing you where the point that you want to emit from and the direction it's going to emit in. So what we're going to do is we're going to place it on the nose of the ship, like so. Again, the grid is on, so everything is going to line up fairly straight. Okay, just from there. Okay, and then we want to just pick the angle. So we're going to have it emit forward, simply like that. So when I fire this now, it's actually going to just fire it forward. But now what we want to do is, it's not set up to a button at the moment, so it'll just automatically fire itself. So all we do is pick our X button, connect our X button up to the power. So every time you press the X button, it's going to switch this on, which is basically going to fire it once. It's going to emit one laser. Okay, so now if we test it, like so, as you can see the ship flying, and every time you press the X button, it's basically going to fire a laser. Of course, you could put sound effects on, or you could put make it faster. And because we have the glow on, I'm going to just go here quickly and tweak this emitter like that. I'm going to make it faster. I want to, let's see, I want to make it object lifetime. Now it's good to actually have a lifetime on an object, because if you leave it on 0, it's gonna might cause you problems with thermal and stuff, because it's like too many things are emitting at once. Okay, so there we go. Now we just get a sound effect. Our last step, we go for we're going to go to this one here, select modes, pick the sound effect, go to the search option, pick sound effects. Now I like to do the media molecule ones. So we're going to go to gaming. Okay. No. Actually, maybe we'll go to collisions instead. Combat. Okay. Okay, so we're going to pick a nice blaster. Fusion. I like that one. Okay. All we do is place your fusion here. Now again, it's the circle button is what does the the X button is what we're using to fire. But what we can do is we go to open up the emitter logic. Okay. So you're going to say that every time you emit one like this, every time that it'll actually emit, it's going to actually do the sound effect. So take that from here and connect it to the, oops, connected to the wrong thing. I do apologize. Yeah. So there's a sound effect there. Every time it basically emits an object. So this is basically how many times, like every time it repeats, it's going to emit 1.0 seconds. So every time it does 1.0 seconds, it will do this piece of logic here, which is basically going to go to the sound effect. So now when we test it, and we press your X button, and that's how you do it. You can move up and down, you can move in and out, like so. And because as the light is on the ship, it's kind of nicely following it. So there you go. So that's a very, very quick example of how you would do a side-scrolling shooter by emitters. So if anybody's any questions, like I'll take 5 minutes. If you want to just ask anything, please feel free. Cool, thank you. So that's exactly again. I'm going to turn off the camera and just show how it's done again very quickly. Exactly how it works. What it's doing is it's emitting an object at a certain speed, and because the grid is on, it's going to emit it straight, so it won't be emitting it down or up. Of course, you could, if you wanted, you could do really impressive effects. What you could do is I could also have it where the background moves in and out, or the ship moves in and out. And to do that, all I would do is use I'll show you if you like. How long have I been playing Dreams? Been playing it since early access started. So I've had us like a good long time, but I just haven't produced any levels yet. Well, not really. Which I will in time. I'm working on one at the moment, so. Okay, so I'm going to pause this again. And now I'm going to show you a nice little trick you can do. Place another block. Let me see. Okay, put another block here in the distance. Okay. Make this block non-collidable. Like that. Make it just non-collidable. Okay. I'll move it over here. Okay. Right. I'll make another block here. Okay, it's 2 different blocks. Yep. Now I'm going to get a piston. So go to Logic, scroll across to Pistons. Piston. Now you have to, basically the yellow end is where it's going to be a fixed end. So it's going to go from this end to this end. So from there to there. And all I do is take I unpause that now. It's going to go in and out exactly as I want. I just literally have to take the ground emitter. Oops, sorry. Take the whole emitter, copy it onto this block here. Now it won't copy straight away. I just have to turn the grid off like this. Grab the emitter, emit it from there. Okay. And then when I actually test it, you see the actual ground is emitting. It's because the emitter, or because the piston is moving in and out, the ground is being emitted in a different point, if you like. So it's being emitted with that. So I can delete this for a second. Okay, just to show you an example. And you could use that, yeah. And you could use that for an enemy chasing the player. So to show you another example of this, okay, very quickly. I'm going to put this back where it was. Sorry, just do it the easy way. Just do it like that. Okay. So we have back to the way it was originally, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make an enemy very, very quick. Say, for example, you're being pursued by a big ship. Okay, so I'm going to copy this one. Take off the logic off it. I mean, it's one of these things that when you actually take time, haters, it's one of these things that when you take time, it's kind of, you know, you'll get used to it after a while. It's something that when you fiddle around, mess around with the logic, it will eventually come to you, but it's just, it's very straightforward, as in like one piece of logic does something and some that leads to something else. But it's just to figure out exactly how how one thing makes something else work. So if something doesn't work for you in dreams, it's probably because of something simple that you're overlooking in the way you've done something. Right, we're going to make the ship red. Okay, it's going to be a big baddie, big bad ship pursuing you, like so. Nice big red ship. Okay, make it really big. So if you imagine you're going to be pursued by this ship, which is going to make diving attacks at you. Now that sounds really complex, but all it really is this. So simple. Okay, you're just going to take a piston, connect piston from your ship, say from there on your ship, connect it to the nose of the other ship. Okay, and what you're doing is now when you play that, okay, you're going to just tweak the connector, okay, make the minimum distance, and you see the way here it's only going to move that distance, and if you make it slower, because obviously it's a big heavy ship that's going to be coming at you, okay, and when that's done, then just simply do that. Now it doesn't look very impressive when you do it like that, but when you test it, and if the lighting is on, oops, that was my mistake, sorry about that. Go to turn on the camera. Where's the camera? Oh, duh. Camera's over here. Okay, tweak the camera again. Camera view is there. Okay. Why is that not working the way it should? Okay, just a matter of tweaking. So when you possess the ship, just have to quickly test here. Right, lighting is off. Ah, it's zooming in too close to the ship. That's what's wrong. Okay. Transition time 0, 0. Okay. Check, tweak the controller settings. Oh, maybe I undid them. I did. No? 0, 0. That's okay. Right. Take the whole camera, move the whole camera back more. Where's that doing that? Sorry about that, I do apologise. Now, okay, so back to editing this again. Right, okay. a bit of a kind of a hiccup there. Somebody's talking to me. Right, so our camera is locked there. Just to see, why is it doing that zoomy in thing? That's what I can't understand. Okay, as again, when something like that goes wrong or the camera goes a bit strange, It's usually something you've done that that's something very straightforward. Right, let's see, so the camera is there. Okay, it's locking onto the player. So when I possess the ship, okay. Oh, okay, you could do it this way. Even easier. You can have it where that when you possess, if you go to the last tab, these ones here. Yeah, when possessed, if I simply take a wire from possessed and wire it up to the power on the camera. So this should work. No, it's still doing it, which is kind of strange. I didn't actually possess the ship, duh. So there you are. So you can see like you're being pursued by a big ship now. It looks like the ship's actually zooming in, like attacking like from a distance. But really all it is, it's just on a piston. But it's basically what's happening is those ships aren't moving, but it's just because the background has been emitted and moved, it's giving the illusion of movement. So there you go. So I hope that makes a lot of sense as to why, or to how you actually would do the thing. Again, I'm going to get rid of the camera very quickly just to show you again the way it works. And all that's happening is it's just being emitted. So there you are. So that's the tutorial. I hope you found it useful. And I hope that when you're making your game or when you're making your shooter, it will make a lot of sense to you. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a nice evening. Okay. So take care and good night.